Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races, and we are back with our analysis for day 2 of Aintree. We didn't do day 1, or we did for premium and pro members. We didn't do it for free, and we haven't done any analysis for free members for a little while, so we are back now. As well as the analysis, the ratings are also free. All you need is a free account with Rating the Races, and you can get your the ratings for all of the races tomorrow. And also remember to get involved in the NAP competition. You can do that by going onto the races when you're logged in, selecting your horses from this drop down here. So maybe you want Active Authority as your NAP, you might want La Conquière as your next best, and I'm just making this up, Boosted Bob as your third best. You would then come up to this NAP 3-3 button over here. Click it, make sure you've opted in with Twitter. All that does is it allows your selections to be tweeted on your Twitter account, and then you are in the NAP competition. There are prizes to be won each and every week, and there's bigger monthly prizes, including cash, ratings, subscriptions, free bets, winners mugs, all of that, and it's completely free to enter. So let's go through some of our analysis. Let's clear all of these, because these are not actually our naps and next best, etc. Let's go through our selections for tomorrow, and we will explain why we like each horse. So first of all, we're looking at the 145, and we've put up 2 in this race, and to be honest, I think it's a really competitive race, and all of those that I've got highlighted at the moment, we've had either a bet on or we've been looking out for 4 different races. Really frustrating that so many of them run. Actually, I've missed one out even. Captain Teague. So, Active Authority, let's go through those that I've highlighted and why I'm either liking them or not liking them. Active Authority went to Cheltenham. We thought he would have a great chance in the Martin Pipe. To be fair, he ran another good effort, didn't he? He was 5th. I don't know. Didn't get the clearest of runs and did go down the inside. And at least this year they're running him over the right trip at Aintree. I'm hoping he doesn't come back to bite us on the bum, having let us down kind of at Cheltenham. Didn't run badly in this over the wrong trip last season. I think he's going to run a nice race. I'm just hoping that there are a couple in this that are a little bit better handicapped. If I was picking 3 from this race, he may well be the 3rd, but I'm not. I'm just doing the 2. And I apologise if you just heard the dog in the background. He's saying hello to somebody at the door. So, yeah, if I was doing 3 in this race, he would be the 3rd. I'm not. I'm hoping we've just got 2 that are a bit better than him. So we'll take out Active Authority. Captain Teague. We do like Captain Teague. We think he's starting to drop to a handicap mark that he could be interesting of. But not yet. Not here, anyway. Maybe next season at Newbury. There's a couple of races at Newbury that I've got in mind for Captain Teague. Let's move on to Favre. Not over this trip. Not over the 2.5 mile trip. He wants 2 miles. Heidi Palin. She gets on really well with him. I think he'll run okay. I think he'll finish 6th or 7th. Not good enough in this race, in my opinion. Favour and Fortune ran a really good race in this race last year. Finished 3rd behind Wellington Arch and Copic de Me. 2 horses that actually were probably nicely handicapped. Copic de Me had previously gone off a short price favourite for a race at Cheltenham, the Martin Pipe. Then finished 2nd to Wellington Arch and probably bumped into one in that Wellington Arch is now £14 higher. Favour and Fortune was 3rd that day, beating Impose Trois. That race has worked out well, and he has only had the 1 run since. He's £1 higher. It definitely has a big chance here, because you would imagine that the run at Kempton was a prep run. Surely has a big chance, is definitely a danger. Not one we're going for, though. Bingle Bridge. I like this horse. I don't think Ollie Murphy's got him right yet. I just don't think he's worked out what to do with him. His form last year was very good. For example, beating Wellington Arch off levels, going off the 2-5 favourite. Well, this year, in this handicap, they're running off levels again, essentially. They're both running off 137. And yet Wellington Arch is sub 10-1, and Fingalbridge is 33s. Fingalbridge has not kicked on from that effort. I don't think Ollie Murphy's got it right yet with him. He'll probably bounce back next season, and then the trainer will go, Yeah, I never had him right all season, did I? Yeah, he. Do you know what? He's very interesting. You could even go back to his chase form and say, wait till he goes back over fences. He was second to Lulamba when given a nothing ride. He then won a 2-runner terrible race where Phantom of the Points fell. And then he finished third in a novice chase over 2 miles, beaten by Dedicated Hero, who has since won a handicap hurdle recently at Kelso, when sent off the 7-4 favourite that day. And also Meet Me by the Sea. Meet Me by the Sea obviously went to the Cheltenham Festival and won the Jack Richards Novice Handicap Chase. Did he just bump into 2 over fences, or did he bump into some nice horses over fences? And on that day, he jumped atrociously. I was really disappointed with his jumping. Just keep an eye on Fingalbridge next season, bouncing back to form. But he's not one for us tomorrow. We'll move on past Hot Fuss. We were obviously on Jazzy Matty at Cheltenham. Lost by a nose, beaten by a jockey who overused the whip. Looked like they'd plotted everything, got it spot on, did everything right, just got beat on the day. The difference here, he is incredibly well handicapped over hurdles. You can't deny that. His handicap mark over hurdles is very, very, very lenient, only 130. But I just feel he should have gone a bit closer in January at Thurles, off that 125 mark that he runs off over there, because surely they were trying a little bit. Winning that race wasn't going to affect his chase mark. But he's definitely of interest. I could give chances to, as I said, so many in this race. But Jazzy Matty's not our selection. Joyeuse. Unlucky, possibly at Cheltenham. I'd highlighted her for a little while. The step up in trip would be the only unknown, really. I don't think she needed to go up in trip. I don't think that's what she was crying out for. I just think things didn't quite happen at Cheltenham. Dropped back in trip to 2 mile. Considering she went up £2, if she was to run here and get comfortably beat, she could then possibly drop back to 135 and then end up in that William Hill hurdle back at Newbury in February. That could be where they're already looking at Joyeuse. Not sure about the trip, but again, definitely has a chance. And Wellington Arch himself. Obviously won this race last year. I'm hoping they've got it wrong, because I was a little bit critical, or very critical, of their placement last time out by running in a race at Uttoxeter, winning $8 grand. And have they ruined their chance of winning this 42 grand here? Possibly. So what have we been left with? Emidio Pepe and Hot Fuss. Let's start with the one that we all know about. Hot Fuss finished second in the Martin Pipe this year, behind Air of Entitlement. Now, got beat by a former Cheltenham winner in Air of Entitlement. She'd previously won the Mayor's Novice. Was very unlucky that day. Ran a huge race. Hampered late on. And that was his first time over 2.5. I think they'll know that he definitely gets this 2.5 mile trip here. And he'll be ridden a bit more positively. But if we go back to that form line that he's got with the likes of Willful and Live Conti, and it goes through to Alexei, Indemnity, Mondo Man, all of those horses come through that form line. Tutti Quanti. On that running, Hot Fuss is still very nicely handicapped off 132. He only went up £2 for his second at Cheltenham. I think he's got a great chance. The second one is the interesting recruit, but also one that we were looking at. Glance at Midnight was in this race for the Skeltons. Really fancied for this race, and they've decided not to run Dance at Midnight. Is that, and I'm hoping this is the reason, because they've gone, we don't need to, we've got an incredibly well handicapped horse in Emidio Pepe, and that can win us this race comfortably. That's kind of the angle I have here. He does have some nice form. He was winning a handicap hurdle last time out. Over 2 mile one on soft ground. He just wants, I think that 2.5 will be absolutely fine for him. I think now with Dan Skelton, he's going to be better than ever. And I think he's going to run a really nice race here. But as I said, I've done all of these horses that I've looked at. What have we got? Like 6 at the front, 7 in the betting there. Well, I've not even looked at the favourite. It's a really, really competitive race. This race, I think, will work out really, really well, and is one of those that you definitely want to mark up anything that is eye-catching or interesting going forward. If it's not for this season, it could well be for next season. We then move on to the 220, which is the 3 mile Grade 1. And we are sticking with one of our horses. We hope we've got the right one of the two. There was 2 that I was interested in here. Regent Stroll and Salva. Both of those I've put up this year for different races. I thought Salva's performances earlier this season have been very good. I do feel the horse wants a bit softer conditions, and especially after the way the first race has been run and the time, it looked like it was very quick. So with that in mind, I'm hoping Salva just lacks a little bit of pace. I actually think Salva is a Welsh national horse for the future. I really do. So I'm hoping we can go for the horse that might have a bit too much speed for him, because I do think you need a lot of speed here at Aintree. And that could be Regent Stroll, who's stepping up in trip to 3 miles. But because it's a quick 3 miles, if you get 2.5, that will be fine. When he ran at Cheltenham and he was 3rd in that Jack Richards, I thought he did everything right, just didn't have the pace to essentially keep up with Meet Me by the Sea and Gold Dancer when they kicked. He travelled really well. He jumped beautifully. I thought he was going to win quite comfortably, to be honest, coming down the hill, and then didn't pick up. And that was probably the first time, or that's what Paul Nicholls suggests anyway, that he showed that he definitely needs that 3 miles. And they're going up to 3 miles now. You know, they have been running over 2.5 for a fair while now. And running well. You know, his second last year in the Grade 1, over 2.5 miles. He's finished second to, interestingly, to Fingal Bridge, over 2.5. He's finished second to Miami Magic at Cheltenham, where again I thought he ran well, but just didn't have that pace to go past Miami Magic. Up now to 3 miles. I think we're going to see why he is thought of and is rightly running in a Grade 1 race here. I think he's going to have the speed to outkick Salva and Wendigo and Gold Dancer this time. But also have that bit of stamina required for this 3 mile. Actually, what we haven't been doing is... Whoops, let me just... So just going back to that first race, those 2 selections we like. Hot Fuss is available at 13 to 2. You can just about get 7s. Whilst Emidio Pepe is available at 8 to 1. They're the 2 I like. As I've said, I think Active Authority, Favour and Fortune, Jazzy Matty, Wellington Arch, Emidio Pepe, Joyous, Hot Fuss, Fingal Bridge, Favour, all have good chances for different reasons. In the second race, where we've just been talking about Regent Stroll, you can currently get 9 to 2. You can see how close it is in the market. The front 4, nothing between them. I think Regent Stroll might go a favourite tomorrow. And yeah, I'd love to see Salva in a Welsh national next season. We then move on to the 255, which is the 2 mile novices hurdle, the Grade 1, where Sober Glory just needs to jump that last better and he should win. Everything else shouldn't be anywhere near good enough. That includes Baron Noir. Baron Noir, ran well at Cheltenham, but was comfortably behind Sober Glory. I don't see any reason why he can reverse that form. And Sinatra was beaten in the county hurdle, shouldn't be winning this. But he's not a bet. The 330, interestingly, the 330, I think they've got it wrong. With Grey Dawning and Protectorat, I'd have had them the other way round. Protectorat over 2.5, Grey Dawning over 3. And because of that put me off both of those. If they'd been in those 2 races, I may well have backed them. But in this way, I'm not backing either of them. I think the Skelson's got that around the wrong way. We move on to the 405, and this time I don't think the Skeletons have got it wrong. I think they've got it spot on. And I think both of them are going to go really, really close here. Madara, very much like Supremely West, who runs the following day in a handicap, was Madara just incredibly well handicapped and was always going to win at Cheltenham and could win again off a higher mark. I think Madara could, because Madara's been very carefully looked after and is quite lightly raced still. You know, didn't have a huge amount of experience over fences, but was running in some really good races, including the likes of fourth in a Paddy Power, second in a December Gold Cup, and is now, you know, after a little bit of a layoff, has come back and started to go back up the ranks to probably where they were hoping Madara would end up. Over the right trip, just needs to jump round, and I think we'll go very, very close. And the second horse, I think, has been aimed at this race in Boom Born. I was actually hoping Madara wasn't going to run here, because then I would have been really keen on Boom Born, and we would have got a decent price about Boom Born, because people would have not really looked at him, but we're still getting a decent price about Boom Born, but the Skeletons could go and ruin it with another one of their horses. This horse has not been trying for ages. He really hasn't. Last three handicaps, I don't think he's been entered or been trying to win any of those three. They went to Cheltenham for a 2.5 handicap in January. He went off 33-1 off 152. They were just working on getting him down a handicap then. They then went to Kempton over 3 miles. Again, they could use the excuse that he didn't stay, before dropping back for 2.5 and getting him very quietly covered up and never involved. Both he and Risk in the Ground, for the Dan Skelton trained the stable that day, were both given nothing rides out the back. He's coming back to Aintree now, and I'm hoping that he is going to be trying here. I do think he will be, because some of his Aintree form is pretty good. His fourth in a Grade 1 behind Impere Pass, Gidley Park and Django Bay. Good form. His fourth in a Old Rome Chase behind Hitman, Master Chew and Manila Drama. Off a mark of 153, pretty good form. Does he have those sorts of rivals against him? I think he's got one potential horse that could be of that ability against him. Actually, he's got two, hasn't he? The one could be Madara, and the second one, if he bounces back, Il est Francais, but I would not be backing him at all. And on that, I think Boom Born is overpriced. I think he's going to run a really nice race here. And I want to take him as my second in that race, just in case Madara does prove to be too high in the handicap, or, just maybe left his mark at Cheltenham. But I do think Boom Born will run a really big race. And the Skeletons will be trying to go really close in this, because they want as much prize money as they can. They've already won the trainers' title. That's not up for grabs anymore. But they do want to try and get as much prize money as they can, because that's what the Skeletons do. We then move on to the 440, the 3 mile novices hurdle. I've got no interest in this race. Didn't really know what I liked in it. So I moved on. And I moved on to the 515, the 2 mile handicap hurdle. I've got two in this race. Again, pretty boring, unoriginal, with the first. Harry Lowes. Obviously, we've been highlighting this horse for a little while. We actually highlighted the horse when he won at, Exeter? When he won at Exeter, I said, if he can beat Captain Cool, it was a very good performance. And he did beat Captain Cool, and he won really nicely. They then stepped him up to 2.5. Both of his runs over 2.5, he's been disappointing. He's pulled far too hard and not been good enough to win. And then they dropped him back to 2 miles last time for a novice hurdle. Surprisingly, went off 5-2. I initially thought they're looking after him. Oh, I don't know what that is. I thought they were looking after him. They didn't want to get his handicap too high. But actually, in hindsight, they did want to win that and go up, because they were trying to get him in the 2.5 handicap. He didn't get in that race. This is his second option. But here, Tristan Durrell can just let him run loose. He can let him go. Doesn't need to restrain him too much. I actually think he's going to win this quite comfortably. I think he's a very, very good horse, running off a very, very ridiculous mark. 124, I don't think is going to be anywhere near his level. I can see this horse winning a couple of races here, maybe even one more for the season, somewhere like Sandown, and then coming out next year and ending up in something like the Jack Richards Novice Handicap Chase, I really like Harry Lowe's. If there is a horse to take him on with that might maybe bounce back to a bit of form, I'm hoping it could be Affodil, who does look quite a big price, considering 2 years ago he went off 9-1 for this, off a mark of 130, and last year he went off 11-2 off a mark of 124. Well, this year he was running off 120. He's down 10 and £4 for those two efforts, from those two runs, and yet instead of being 9-1 and 11-2, he's a massive price. Look at the price he is this year. 22s. The biggest he's been, it was 9s. He went off 9s off a £10 higher mark. He went off 11-2 off a £4 higher mark. You go, yeah, but he's bang out of form. Is he? He ran an eye-catching effort at Musselburgh when I think he wasn't there to win it. He was in a 10 grand handicap. He was there to just get a bit more experience of the course. He then came back for the race they wanted, the Scottish County Hurdle, where they got beat by Star of Gweeting. I think they got the ride wrong that day, and they got beat by the improving Star of Gweeting. They then went to Sandown for an Imperial Cup and finished a decent 5th. I didn't think that was a bad effort. And then last time out at Ascot, okay, that was a bit of a bad effort, disappointing effort, but that was over 2 mile 5. He didn't want that. They've dropped him back in trip now to the right trip, and he comes back to Aintree, where he has run well before. 2 years ago, he was 3rd in this race. A reproduction of that effort, and you think he goes really close off this very low handicap mark. It's all about how progressive are some of those around him, and I do think there's some really progressive types. Harry Lowe's definitely being one of those. Shermanator probably, and maybe the Mighty Celt. But yeah, I think he's overpriced here. I think he's going to run a nice race, Affodil. I could see him finishing in the front 5. I do feel like Harry Lowe's could be the one here, though, that it would not surprise me if he got absolutely smashed up tomorrow and went off 7-4, 2-1 at the head of the market, and they went, yeah, we know we've got a very well handicapped horse there. We were trying to look after him for the 2.5 handicap. We've ended up not having our horse in that, but we do still have the winner with Emidio Pepe, and we run Harry Lowe's in the conditional jockeys instead and reward Tristan Durrell for his support all season. They've already done that once with the Coral Gold Cup, formerly the Hennessy, and now they can do it with the winner at Aintree. So they're my thoughts for Friday. Let's go through, do my naps, my nap next best and third best. I'm going to go for, my nap is going to be, my nap's going to be Harry Lowe's. I do think Regent Stroll's going to take all of the beating there. And we're going to go for Madara as my third best. So they will be my 3 in the nap competition. Hope you get involved in that, and fingers crossed we can have some winners.